It's anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, or discrimination against Arab Americans or Palestinian Americans.
Joining us now, Israeli Special Operations veteran Aaron Cohen, who ran a quiet infiltration operation at UCLA. And oh, wasn't it delicious, Aaron, to watch those anti-Semitic, anti-American protesters get busted up on live television overnight. What did you see on the UCLA campus? Was there Islamophobia there? Was that the problem?
No, I saw a bunch of spoiled kids, waiting for their 870 acai bowls to be delivered. So yeah, I went into I got up to that encampment last night when it got dark, dressed up as a protester. I served in a unit. I used to dress as a local. I served in the Mistar Avim unit, which literally means to become an Arab. So I was probably the only person wearing a keffiyeh correctly. Got up close to the encampment, saw what was going on. A very aggressive crowd, but that glazed look over their eyes, really no concept of what they're doing out there, repeating old statements that sound like the same stuff we heard back in 2020. But afterwards, I got invited down by LA Sheriff, their special response team, spent a couple hours with them. And I'm going to tell you something, one of the finest agencies, absolutely ready to get in there and tear down that encampment, and them and CHP and LAPD and the University of California Police Department did a fantastic job, really well trained. And it was actually quite relieving to see them get cut off the leash. And if it doesn't happen around this country and every one of these encampments, guys, doesn't get put down, this metastasization is going to get worse, and it's going to get dangerous, because the dumber they are, the more dangerous they are. And that's the way Hamas works with recruiting, and that's how counterterrorism gets metastasized through incitement and rhetoric.
And toleration. And that's what liberals in these cities and in the White House are actually doing. All right, let's move on to this. Aaron, a medical student at UCLA telling Fox and Friends that social media propaganda is what's influencing anti-Israel protests on college campuses around the country. Watch this.
There's a lot of propaganda on social media. TikTok has been a major brainwashing machine in this pro-Palestinian movement, especially. I've also been seeing it on Instagram, people saying that Zionists are racist, white supremacists, baby killers. They're calling me a white colonizer. I'm, Asian American Jew. And so this is truly a cult mentality. And a lot of students are sharing really, really, just false information on social media, and it's spreading like wildfire.
Aaron, this doesn't really surprise me. And I would just argue that China and TikTok don't really care about this conflict in and of itself. But what they do care about is putting out propaganda that will divide, that'll tear this country apart at the seams. And they love to see what they're seeing on the streets and in these campuses.
So I agree with you 100%. I think what you're seeing here is a major paradigm shift. This is essentially so that mobile phone, that's a PSYOPs delivery vehicle. In fact, it penetrated all the way up into the White House. It started with with Israel's nonsense genocide that they're not committing. Israel's completely moral. Their operations are selective. Israel does more than any other country in the world to avoid civilian casualties. Then it moved into this colonial thing. So what you're seeing right now is again, the systematic recruitment and incitement. All these kids have been staring at their phones since 2010 is when those cell phones really started cracking, and you got a whole generation with nothing to really connect to, finding their meaning through that cell phone. And any country can manipulate that algorithm. It's a very dangerous tool. I'm not a fan of TikTok. It's great if I dance, but I don't. But Instagram, TikTok, it's all dangerous stuff. And guys, a bigger counterterror thing that's bubbling here. Massive crowds. It's going to get worse. It's going to fall on the shoulders of law enforcement. I've been saying it for a couple of weeks now. These encampments got to get put down, and the leadership needs to step up. It needs to happen right now.
Aaron Cohen, thanks for bringing your insights.